Hi and welcome. In my recent video, some people asked me what camera should I get, and instead of just creating a list, which I'll do in a future video, I've decided to create this video which will educate you to make a smart purchase when it comes to a camera. These are 6 features you should pay attention to when you're purchasing a camera. Let's start with the first one, which is the system. Before we even talk about a specific camera, we need to talk about the camera manufacturers and brands out there, because once you buy a camera, you buy into the system of the camera, you buy into the mount, because you can use a lot of cameras, but usually lenses are something that you wouldn't change often. So when I'm talking about a mount, I'm talking about the versatility of the mount, which means that it has a lot of lenses out there, namely third-party manufacturer lenses as well, because you'll have more bang for your buck, not losing a lot of the quality, and also the upgradability of that mount itself, because that means you can start with an APS-C entry-level camera, for example, and upgrade it all the way to a full-frame one while still staying in the same mount and perhaps using the same lenses. You can check out just by searching Google, and also pay attention to when was the last lens manufactured, because if it was manufactured like 3 or 4 years ago, it means that the mount isn't supported anymore, even if it's unofficial Canon. So be diligent about the system you buy into, because the future you will thank you. Ask yourself how you're gonna use the camera. Are you gonna film yourself a lot or do some top bottom angle shots, or is the camera just gonna be glued to a tripod filming YouTube videos or photographing people? Everything matters when you choose a camera, because the screen varies a lot between the models. There's the flip up, fixed, tilt screen, and all the hype lately is about the flip out screen because this is the most versatile one. And some models don't have a flip out screen, but you need to ask yourself whether you really need one. Think realistically about what your usage for the camera will be. Most people recommend the flip out screen because it's just the most versatile one, so if you're not sure, go for a flip out screen, you won't get wrong there. The cameras that do have a viewfinder today usually have an electronic viewfinder, and some cameras, mostly entry-level cameras, don't have a viewfinder. But a viewfinder is somewhat of an acquired taste and a style of shooting. I, for example, shoot street photography, so I won't be using an EVF because it'll be alarming everybody I'm taking a shot. Instead, I usually use mostly my screen when I'm taking a shot, because I'm just framing the shot and taking it stealthily. Also, for any other photographs, I barely use the EVF, so for myself, I won't be needing one. But you need to ask yourself whether you use one, and if you're not sure, just get a camera with an EVF. That's how you'll learn if you'll ever use it or not. Autofocus is something that is baked in most cameras today, and you need to pay attention to the 2 different types of it, mainly if you're a video shooter where tracking a subject continuously matters. The first one is phase detect, which means that it tracks using your eye or face, which is what most brands out there use today. And the second one, mainly used by Panasonic today, is contrast detection, where it tracks you or autofocuses on you depending on the contrast of the image. Contrast detection is slower than phase detect, so pay attention when you buy into a system and what autofocusing system it has. The 2 last features are just for video shooters, so make sure to skip here if you're just interested in photography. So when it comes to video, let's start with the first one, which is of course half of it, sound. Most camera microphones out there just suck, except for a few which I'll be making a video of in the future, so make sure you subscribe if you want to see it. And because it sucks, you want to connect a microphone into it, but we can't do it without a headphone jack. And some entry-level cameras do not have a headphone jack, so make sure you actually check that before you're making a decision. Most cameras out there already shoot 4K out of the box. Just make sure it's 24 or 30 frames per second, or even both. Make sure that the recording limit isn't really high, unless it doesn't matter to you and you're doing really short bursts of videoing. And make sure that there isn't any added crop factor of the 4K, because entry-level cameras have a crop factor because they're APS-C cameras, but some also have an additional crop factor on the 4K. So make sure they also don't have that, or have that if it doesn't matter for you, because some people even use it as an extra zoom when they actually shoot mostly full HD. So make sure to pay attention to all of these 3 factors. There are a lot of camera manufacturers out there, so I'll help you narrow down the list by naming a few and what they excel at. Fuji is mostly centered around photography with their design language with the manual dials that allow you to take manual control of your photography experience. And in recent years they've really done some waves in the video department as well, but I'll mostly look at them for photography. As for their system, they're mostly centered around APS-C, which is great for you because there are so many lenses out there at really affordable prices. Sony is like a jack of all trades today, and their E-mount system is superb. You have lenses from all different price brackets, sizes and shapes, from APS-C all the way to full frame, and there's probably a reason why most content creators today use Sony. I personally don't use Sony, but if I would have started today, I would start with Sony for sure. So if you want a jack of all trades, video, photography, you can't really go wrong with Sony. You can start with an APS-C and move all the way to the full frame camera and still stay in their very versatile E-mount. Panasonic is a brand that is close to my heart because I'm using a GH5 to record this video, because you get so much bang for your buck, it's just insane. Most of their cameras use the Micro Four Thirds mount, which has a lot of lenses, most of them really small because of the size of the sensor, and also very affordable. Their autofocus isn't the best from what I've heard, and I personally don't use autofocus most of the time, but I'm pretty much fine without it. So if you want Panasonic to get the best bang for your buck, just go for it. Blackmagic is a bit of an oddball because it doesn't have autofocus and it's mostly centered around video, but it gives you so much bang for your buck in the video department. You get raw video for a really low price. Of course, it isn't close to the price of an entry-level camera. You can use and get a Blackmagic 4K today at a very affordable price if you buy secondhand from any reputable brand or from eBay. So if you're just centered around video and you really don't care about autofocus, Blackmagic is just the best place to go when it comes to your money. Canon is a very well-known company, but I wouldn't recommend them in 2022, especially since they're banning third-party manufactured lenses, which you can check in this video right here, where I also explain why it's bad for us the consumers. I've been Tim and I'll see you next week. Bye! And a cat.